Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball, HTB. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you're new, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we pause, relax, and breathe. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you're well. Hope your week has been good. Thanks for watching, participating, and again, appreciate the new subscribers. If you guys don't know, I'm just a dude who loves his rugby league. No different to you. I just so happen to just post my thoughts basically, but in saying that, we've got a very cool video coming up. Yes, it's a team review and I'll give you guys my opinions, but before we get into it, I've got an intro to hit. Let's hit it. Alright guys, welcome. Yes, this is another edition here of our team review where I'll be looking at the Sharks. Yes, the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, who in my opinion were a very okay team. I mean, look, they finished the season 9th place. It's a very awkward spot, particularly I can imagine as someone who follows them. Finishing at 9th just sucks because it is so close yet so far. Cliche, but it rings true. Now again, with this team here, their last round, as we all know, the last round was dependent on my wonderful Warriors, who absolutely got trounced by the Titans, and that was game over for them. Now in saying that, we'll go into their stats, their strengths, their weaknesses, so on and so forth, and sort of go from there. But again, just to go back to the introduction of the Sharks, they've had a very, in my opinion, up and down season. Obviously the announcement of their coach, at the time being sacked, then a coach who's been signed for next year, and then sort of like a acting coach for this year. So again, a lot of things have happened. Some key players for them have left heading into next season. Some key players have come in heading into next season. And also at the same time as well, I think one player in particular who I think I tipped my hat to was Wade Graham, who I thought was a soldier to carry on, or try to at least, but obviously has taken a break from the game for the season. When he was injured beforehand, heading into next season, which is good. I tip off my hat to him as well. The players, especially who get concussion and keep trying to play, it's a brutal scene. It's why we love the game, not necessarily for the injury per se, but it just comes with the territory. Now we'll get into it with the stats. So the Sharks finished their season with 10 wins, 14 losses. Their points for was 520, and their points against was 556. So again, it shows you it's actually quite balanced. Obviously, those 14 losses, some of those games were pretty tight too. Some of them were not. They got hammered a few times. I think there was also a donut game too, if I remember, against the Panthers. But again, it wasn't too bad. It's not the worst defensive sort of numbers to accumulate, really. The completion rate was 79% on average. The tackle efficiency was 84.9. Again, not bad numbers. The average points scored was 21. Average points conceded was 23, but again, just goes back to it wasn't that far off. If anything, whatever they usually scored off, if they lost, the other team usually scored probably, like 6 points or less against them. So again, there were some signs there. So we go into the team performance. So again, my personal opinion, the beauty about this is that I give you guys my thoughts on your favorite team, and you are more than welcome to tell me why I'm right, why I'm wrong. Just go from there. I love all forms of engagement, as you know. I don't mind it. It is a-okay. So again, back to it. Their best game was round 11, in my opinion. That was the Sharks against the Dragons, where, Chad Townsend slots that infamous goal, extra time. It was a very tough match too. Low scoring, obviously, 13 points to 12. It was a very, very tight game. I remember watching that game. I actually tipped the Dragons in that game there as well. So again, kudos to the Sharks, in my opinion. That was their best game. And so their best player of the season, I thought, was Will Kennedy. He scored a few tries. He has grown in such a good capacity for the team. He's going to be a leader, I reckon, and he just shot up really well, and I believe he won the Clubman of the Year award as well. So yeah, Will Kennedy to me was their player to look out for, their player to watch, and their best overall, full stop. Definitely carry them in some games, and he's got a very, in my opinion, very good awareness for the game. He knows how to run some very good lines. If you watch his highlights and just watch him in general, he knows how to pick a good line to run, and will be all the more crucial heading into next season. Their breakout star for me, I thought there was a few, but I thought Braden Trindle for me played well. Again, some very good assists. His conversion rate was over 80%. Defensively as well, he was very sound. And just overall as well, I thought he was a breakout star. Some of the try assists, line breaks, and so on and so forth. Ran some decent meters too per game. So again, you can only sort of grow from that and piggyback from that. But again, Braden Trindle, for me personally, was their breakout star of the year. Their worst player, this is going to be quite ironic, I think, anyway. The very guy who slotted their winning goal against the Dragons in what was, in my opinion, their best game, also so happens to be, in my opinion, not their best player, and that was Chad Townsend. Very electrifying, I think, obviously, when he moved over to them from the Warriors, gave them everything, but I think, unfortunately, perhaps his age, form has sort of dwindled, and I thought, in my opinion, a bit injury prone, but on top of that as well, just didn't give the Sharks what they needed heading into the latter part of the season, hence the reason why he was, subsequently, I guess, congratulated for what he's given the Sharks, but also at the same time showing the door heading into the Warriors. But you can't forget what Chad Townsend, has done for the club, but he goes down, in my opinion, as unfortunately their worst player this season. So my conclusion for the Sharks, basically, their weakness. Their weakness for me was actually quite the opposite. I thought, usually teams, their weaknesses is defense, or perhaps it's, say like a winger or two, or maybe just a bit of mispositioning or coaching. But I thought for them it was actually their strike. Their halves especially, I thought was weak. In general, their attack could have been more polished. It could have been better polished. They've got some very key attacking players. You've got players like Hiroti in the wing. You've got Mulitalo. You've got Talakai. You've got Ramian. You've got these plethora of players who I think, in my opinion, can definitely do some damage. Obviously, Moreland in the mix somewhat. But if you go to their back, their forwards as well, you've got Toby Rudolph, who in my opinion is a gun player. You've got Britain Nikora. And again, I guess for them next year as well, their hooker Brayley, who I thought played well again. Those are sort of like the type of players, in my opinion, for me, who are strike weapons and who have done some good work. Hamlin Uele as well as another player that comes to mind. Now, that was my thoughts there. That was probably their general weakness, just not being able to polish off enough of their offense to actually create some points. And again, they didn't lose there much, 23 points conceded, 21 points given. It's sort of like a just about their thing. Had they reversed it around, obviously they wouldn't be ninth. They probably could have finished probably sixth. But again, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Now, the strength for me, I think, defense. Their defense was good for a team that finished ninth. For a team that conceded that much points, I think defense has to be their best thing. You can't really complain there when the total is 556. You've got some teams that are definitely more than that, who are in higher positions and obviously lower positions. So again, it's not the worst thing to happen to these players. So you can just say that, I think for them, defense was good. And they've got a very defensive-minded coach hanging for next year as well. And I think that will work for them even more so. So that sort of brings me to the goal, I guess, for next year as well. Obviously, defense, finding some more key attacking structures, but also some of their key signings for next year. We've got Dale Finucane, we've got Nico Hines. A lot of Sharks fans are very happy about that, obviously. And obviously, you've got someone like Cameron McInnes coming in who has that leadership, tackle machine, and somebody who has a chip on his shoulder. I'm sure of it. But again, heading into next year, that's right. It's just about fine-tuning some of those key elements, seeing what those players for next season can provide for him. To be fair with you, they go into next year with a lot of hope. So can they do it? We'll have to wait and see. But in saying that, it comes to the grading. And again, all objective. It's all subjective. It is what it is. So we'll get into it. So my grading for them, I give them a C-. As the things I mentioned before, it wasn't well polished overall. Obviously, some key players here, there. Some are going. Obviously, Sean Johnson, one of them. Woods, one of them as well. Townsend. But then they've got some key players coming in for next season. So just have to wait and see. But I give them a rating of C-. I do believe, though, that this year was a year for them to sort of see where they're at in that mess. Considering they're actually quite messy, I think, anyway. Obviously, the politics of it all, the injuries and so on and so forth. A C-, considering that, finishing ninth, I think that's a stepping stone personally. So can they climb with that? Can they use that? We'll have to wait and see. But that, guys, is my ratings. That is my overall review of the Cronulla Sharks. yeah, tell me what you guys think. What are your thoughts on it? But in saying that, that has been me for today. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. And yeah, Sharks, you know what you can do. Hold the ball. Take it easy. See you guys next time.
Yeah, we got the jazz vibes, reminding y'all of Coltrane.